Hey, this is the Kubeflow Notebooks meeting for the 18th of September 2025. This is going to be a short recording. We're just going to go through the updates of what's happened since last week, and so that we can then move on to like a not recorded section that we always do after the meeting to do code reviews and stuff. So let's quickly just always link to the Notebooks 2.0 what is it thing, an FAQ issue that explains why it links you to the information about why we're doing what we're doing. It links you to the design document. It's a full rewrite of Kubeflow notebooks. It's going to be really cool. It's going to have lots of features that are really important for new supercomputers, and also just making your life easier as an admin to make new IDEs available. So you've got a custom IDE in your company. You can easily add a new type of image. You could build one for GPUs, different types of GPUs. It's really cool. If you want to help, we need these kinds of developers in various areas, especially focusing on KubeBuilder and Golang with KubeBuilder and backend stuff. If you have that experience, please reach out. If you're a notebooks adopter, please add yourself to the adopters file. If you're overall Kubeflow adopter, please add yourself to that. The tracking board will be better soon. I don't know if we've made any progress on that since last week, but Andy, not much. Okay.
No.
This is just to remind me every week that we need to figure this out because this is a problem for the whole community, but we will not be able to fix that today. So the three things we're working on are dashboard migration, which is moving code from Kubeflow to the Kubeflow dashboard repo, moving code from the Kubeflow repo to the Kubeflow notebooks v1 branch of the notebooks repo, and also obviously working on all the code and writing the code for v2. So let's quickly do a brief overview of what the heck's happening with the dashboard. Is there anything interesting to say here?
Yeah, very interesting. It's broken. And I can't figure out why. Profile controller, this fix did not, like, I reproduced something locally. I thought this, in addition to some admin stuff Julius did, would fix it, but profile controller is still not publishing. I have a
This is why I needed to do the push first, because it requires the magic touch. No, it's just because like let me just confirm. Is it only one of them that's failing?
just profile controller. Confusingly, I would have thought pod defaults would have errored too, but it's a 403. Um,
Yeah,
we
so I'm gonna
did
need it.
add in the package settings. Again, I was just talking with Julius over Slack and he was on mobile. So it was in package settings for profile
Yeah, so
controller.
I'm not gonna have access to it, but he
Okay.
needs to add me as an admin on each of them. Uh, this is exactly why we don't. We need to decide what we're doing with notebooks migration, but this is the pain here is that I'm gonna need to well, actually, you can see some of them have ended up here. Interestingly.
Right. Yes. Yes. It's just profile controller, which is confusing. I would have thought pod defaults would have conflicted on the name
Well, no,
as well.
I'm suspecting that someone might have just typoed something, but let me just see. I need to be made an admin of this one so that I can manage it. Let's see if there's actually an invisible one, because that's the other thing that you have to do. We need to figure that out, by the way.
Yes.
Mainly just for posterity.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe it somehow made it internal. No. Okay. So Kubeflow dashboard. So probably it is there, but he just hasn't made it able to push to it. Simple as that. He probably just screwed up.
Yeah, I thought I sent him a screenshot because locally, if you go into the package settings, I told him to add Kubeflow dashboard with write access to the package.
I'm just gonna get them to. I'll just get Andre to add me as an admin on them.
Okay.
But
yeah, so it's just because I can't see any of these screens, I can't debug it
I can't
any
debug it
further.
either because literally I can't. The one that it needs to be there to fix is gonna be one that he's just forgotten to do. Like this is why I should have fucking done it before. Okay. So let's. I'm just gonna. So is there any more that are failing, or is it just 4?
No, just that one.
Okay. Uh, sorry to ask. Can you please add the super leopard to admin of the following packages we forgot to push before making the CI/CD of the new dashboard repo. This one, and then I'm gonna assume the path of the one that I can't see, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So there's only, so to be clear, we're only expecting 5 images out of this repo. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then the path of the one we expect is what? Send to F. Send to F. We'll see if he's gonna get confused. Anyway, whatever. Most people have never done it before. So anyway, if that gets happened, I'll be able to fix it, and it'd be better for the future anyway. Okay. Obviously in the real
So,
world, yes.
oh, sorry, please
I
continue.
was saying in the real world, probably what we should do is actually make the working group leads and the admin there. But I've just been kind of avoiding that because in general, admin is really usually not necessary for anyone because it allows you to delete tags and it's just not a good idea. But or the whole freaking image as well. So usually only write access is necessary for like emergency kind of overwrites of tags or things like that. But a side note is you can't really get rid of tags anyway. Like they just become untagged. Like if you go here, you can actually dual versions. Yeah, see they go here forever, like no matter what. So okay.
But yeah, so if we get this work started review on, so the PR that we merged here to get us to this point was the like make dashboard releasable part 1, and then I've started to work with Liav's make dashboard releasable part 2. He was fixing up some PR feedback I gave him, so I should hopefully be able to review and merge that. I just want to like take his code on my fork and walk through all the steps of creating a release on my fork, and once I see that good, I'll get that approved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is just as simple as it not having the permission to do it. That's why. So what did yeah, I don't think this, my suspicion, what did you try and change it? I don't know. Yeah, that's not how that works now. So
Like I said,
unfortunately,
if you read the Slack post, I like reproduced this locally, and that was necessary for me locally, but I don't know how, like, or not
yeah.
locally, but on my fork, but that's
So
fine.
yeah, this only applies to this this is necessary if the default configure, well, that one's usually necessary. Yeah, so what, how is it working without this previously? Like that should, like that, even like this won't fix the issue because that's not what the issue is here, but like this should have not worked without this, right? And this, unless the settings for this repo are not set up correctly, because
Yeah, like I have links to all my GitHub action runs on that Slack post. I have that included in my status stand up, but it's without that block, I was still getting errors. I think because um,
it must
it
be
was
that
an
it's
issue
enabled by
between the
default.
GHCR token versus GitHub token, and I didn't want to switch the token we were using.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is like, it must mean that the default permissions are right. Is what I'm trying to say, right? You know, because like for the repo, because like if you, and maybe that is the case, but I didn't think packages was. Maybe it is. I didn't know that. Okay, interesting. I know that contents usually is, but
And yeah, like here, I think like I thought it was because this isn't the own, like this still isn't the source repo of the package, right? So, but I could have misinterpreted it, like
so
I
yeah,
said.
it's unclear why or how this repo didn't end up being the owner. You know what I mean? Like it is unclear if the PR that created it was merged. My suspicion is someone else must have pushed that tag previously. You know, like that's the only explanation that I could come across. You know, so weird. You know, like
Yes, weird is the outcome. We can, like I said, if
it is
someone
also
has like,
possible that the path is incorrect somehow. Like the actual build is not. It's like not reading it correctly in some way. Like anyway, I'll be able to tell if we that thing has to exist. Is what I'm saying. So
right.
like this. So uh, or it's not being interpreted correctly in some way. Anyway, let's move on. Okay,
Yep.
we don't have much time. So, what in terms of next steps to get this released, other than fixing that, is there anything?
There's a open PR, the make dashboard releasable part 2, and that's what I was saying. I've started review on that. I just needed a couple changes. It's 135 there, so I'm hoping tomorrow I can clear that and verify it.
Okay. Cool. Moving on then. I also want to push really hard after we get this done to get releases cut out of it. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but is Julius, sorry, is Kimonos?
There was like a 2-day or 3-day window where I was hearing from him, and then
Okay.
I haven't heard anything since.
Okay, cool. Move on. Let's cool. Thank you for your work on that. Okay. So anything else you need from me or other people?
Nope, I think that accurately sums up that. To launch into 1.0 stuff, we do have a handful of GitHub issues that we're just looking. I mean, at this point, I think you're the only one that can like really weigh in, and that will be community consensus. Um,
When you say
I'll
issues, what are we talking about?
if you go into issues, there is 584, 585, and
Is it
583.
something that I can just like
I
make a
mean, it's really
decision
just a
on?
one-liner. We should do this. We should do this. We should do
Do you
this,
have
right?
do you have a proposal, or is it something that I can, or you need my actual input?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like kind of like a sign up. Like I think you had said we're gonna just get rid of Q. Like this is kind of based on what I thought you had said before. So it's just looking for like a sign off on that.
Um,
And this might be wrong because I think on the last call you had said you were leaning towards keeping it in Kubeflow. So this one does have a proposal. Um,
yes. So like this one is the one that this is actually the one I did want to make a decision on, so that the same thing didn't happen with the other ones. Because I swear
yep.
to God, I don't want to be migrating 1,000 images. You know what I mean. So at very least, I do not want the freaking notebook server ones to get migrated. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes. And there, yeah, the third issue is like, what do we do around example notebook server? So it's like those are the three things that
I'm not against having, you know, maybe these ones can migrate. It just so like the only issue we need to address is the one I said here, which is if we choose option 1, we really need to remove the ability for the other one to push to it, right? So just so that it never accidentally does mess it up in any way, especially
right.
because the tag latest is a thing on the old servers. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We are benefited from the fact that the servers are the one thing that, oh no, they do push on unfortunately they do push on also because there's a build cache as well. There's another complexity there that like if you didn't know I'm not going to show you, but you know what I mean. Like there's an image that is purely there as a build cache just to try and speed up the ARM builds because they're emulated. So like yeah, and then probably people are gonna say, oh, we should use the new GitHub ARM runners. Well, the issue is actually combining an image tag from that is really painful because you want to create a single artifact which has all 3 binaries. Anyway, so I don't know what you're asking me here, so I guess we just need to make this decision, or
Yeah, and we don't need to do it on
yeah.
recording, but yeah, I mean that's just kind of to lock it in to make sure there's no
Whenever there's a
ambiguity.
PR, just please don't merge it until we've make
Yeah. They're
this.
all testing. Well, yeah. So testing PRs are getting raised, but I said we might need to change unless and until we get
So
clarity on these other questions.
are there any V1 PRs that have been raised here?
Yes.
Cool. V1. Hopefully they've been raised since I changed my thing.
Yes.
Um,
So yeah, the top 3 then are coming out of, or no, sorry, just the top 2 right now. But I know a couple other developers are working on the testing parts. I have not reviewed these yet.
yeah, that's fine. Interesting. Okay, well, moving on. So, just let's make sure we don't merge the freaking one for the other
Yep.
one. And also, obviously, make sure that we're targeting the correct
Right, that's where it's tied into that other GitHub issue, just so we can get sign off that those are correct.
Yeah, anyway, let's move on. And it's so other than that, this obviously does affect graduation. So uh what is necessary for this, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the most of the Israeli team that I work with at Red Hat are kind of like farming these out. Now September is like kind of like the, high holiday month, so there's a lot of vacation time going on there, but their plans are to like knock out most of the publish and, deploy. Again, deploy we need to handle very carefully obviously, so it's at least getting the testing, like the CI type stuff, actions in place
Yeah, getting
first.
testing at least in. You mean release, you mean not deploy, I assume.
Yes, or just like all of the,
Kind of like
integration,
the way we did
multi-arch.
it for the old one, you're saying, where we do the tests first and then we do the.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because then we can actually start raising PRs and
Right.
things like that. And also, there's people who are raising PRs
There,
already.
yes, there are people who have raised PRs that I really don't want to touch until
Yeah,
we can, actually have the checks run against them.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they did probably have the checks run against them in the old repo, but still.
I mean, yeah, things could have changed. Cool. So, moving on then. I guess we'll talk about this briefly afterwards. I think my perspective is that we should migrate the main ones, but not the image servers. You know what I mean? Like that's my thought there. Or yeah, that's good. It's gonna be it's still gonna be freaking painful to turn off the ability for the old repo to set that. But huh, I might need to make a script. Okay, yeah, okay. It's not too bad. Hopefully the GitHub CLI. I've just experienced really that it isn't well integrated with the packages tooling. You know what I mean? Like that's just my experience with the GitHub CLI in this particular
Yeah,
thing.
the GitHub CLI, I've found weird edge cases where it's like,
So like
oh,
I'll
it's
show you
there's
what I like. So what I'll have to do just for the recording's posterity sake is um like we would go to down here, and the ones that are associated to this repo, we would take, say, RStudio, right? And we would go here, and then we would change settings, and then we would remove this to maybe read or something, just so that it's there explicitly but not allowed. And then you have to click this button here, click the correct one, and make it
yep,
right. Uh,
yep.
and then we maybe should, while we're here, just add. Oh, we could probably do that as well. What actually happens? I'm not going to take it, but what happens? This didn't exist when we first did these. Like, this means that
Interesting.
right
I
access
feel
would,
like
see, that's the problem. I've just ticked that accidentally. Well, that's unfortunate. Huh. Wow. I've accidentally removed my own access there. That's quite fun,
huh.
I might say. Well, that is a problem, actually. Also, I accidentally removed my access to this one by ticking inherit from repo. Can you untick that and add?
Yeah, that's interesting. So on the random setup that I did, that box was already checked, but there could be a million different reasons why that is. But I didn't explicitly set it, but it was set.
All right, I'm just very confused. What I'm saying here. Give me a quick second. Well, anyway, I shouldn't have unticked that. Moving on. Okay. we'll see if he understands what I'm saying. I at the very least need. I'm gonna say at very least, please fix the permissions of policy. Nightmare of my life. Okay. Let's move on, and then we. Okay. It shows him a 404. That doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? So like your dashboard one is also a 404 for him.
Let's move forward to wrap
Yeah.
up the recording, then we can dive in.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, moving on. Notebooks 2.0 updates are, I guess there's some stuff happening in terms of pull requests. Do we have any specific ones? Obviously, our goals at the moment are to, I don't know if we wrote them down, I guess we didn't, is to get the notebooks 2.0 deployable end to end, even if it's not fully ready. And secondarily, get the, I don't know if we wrote them down, we should write them down. We write them down somewhere. No, we didn't. I wish we did. Okay, I'm just gonna put it here. Oh, goals. Deployable end to end. Wait, I think we did write it down up here, right? I mean, we must have.
Yeah, it's somewhere. We're just reinforcing we need to. Yeah, it's here.
Be able to run. Yeah. That's fine. I'll say it on the recording. Yeah, this part here. Be able to run it inside a dashboard end to end on a Kubernetes cluster, and any Kubernetes cluster, whether or not it's actually fully featured is completely separate. We need to have steps to install it. Therefore, we can run a demo on the public. Be good. In a meeting or something. The other goal is to, I believe, use mocked backend API calls for all front ends. So like where the mocks on the front end aren't the only. So like right now, some APIs do not connect to the real backend. We should create mocked versions in the backend REST API that's not actually just, you know, so that everything is Swagger generated, you know, so that even if it's not ready and it just returns nothing and does no ops all the time, it we should be doing that. And so obviously that requires us to agree on the contracts for the API, which is why we want to do that. So for example, you know, deleting things or updating workspaces and updating workspace kinds. And it then also forces the front end people to ask for specific parameters to be added, and then we can discuss if those parameters are necessary and whatever else. So I don't know if any progress has been made on that. I guess it's probably not, but just simply because there wasn't any API changes to the back end to do that.
I was under the impression that you were going to provide for
Yes.
the workspace update API. That's what
Yes, I did end up not having time to do that, but yes, we should. That's definitely the main one, I think, to force some changes. Is there any others that we're not currently calling for?
Well, there's other stuff around, you know, I mean, that's the biggest one. If we get that mock, then we can derive, like, I feel comfortable being able to derive the workspace kind one. And then, you know, we talked about volumes and secrets management APIs as well. But like, it's like there's no areas in the UI right now. Well, I
That
mean, we
actually
do have
call
like
those.
edit capabilities, but yeah, it's like that will unblock the UI to start calling those.
Okay, so I'm assuming, is there any that actually have that right now for the volumes and secrets? We should
No,
add
right
those
now we
lines
just
in.
yeah.
We need to add those sections in, right? So that they're, because that's what I'm saying. Like the drive for those APIs should come from somewhere, right? That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, why it's kind of strange to me that that drive isn't happening. Um, like, is there anyone working on those pieces, or I guess we've kind of lost track because all the crazy tracking madness. So like, who would be working on, for example, getting a mocked front or just front end, like doing a first pass of during the create workspace flow, like because that okay, that's actually what we want. Sorry, I think we talked about that. The two goals are have a proper create and update workspace flow, and get it actually to something that's fully usable. And so even if it's not real, like mocked, so let me write this down. So the two goals, nothing else really matters, is have I gone too far? Yes. Red. Okay. Uh deploying Kubeflow notebooks 2.0 in a real cluster with dashboard manifests published images, and then so that's up here. I'm just going to copy it for sake of argument. And front end flow with all MVP features required for release, at least calling flow for create, update, restart. I guess I'm trying to distinguish between like update both manual, like update options, and apply redirect, restart, with all front-end flow for workspace related things, all MVP features, required for release. Okay, with all features are like create, update, and so like there's like massive work that needs to be done on a lot of these. All need to at least be like all API interactions for these need to be calling at least the mocked backend APIs generated from Swagger. Okay. Then this one I'm create, update, like reopen, create, like flow, update, apply, pending, redirect, restart. Start, stop, go, details. Okay, so like, but this one is the one that is first.
And we should show connect on there too, right? If we're just going to enumerate all the things.
Yeah, I mean, technically, yes. The button is already there. Oh, you get like,
it's going to need to
like
change
show
based on
details.
Harshad's.
I'm gonna say like in table in table and details fly over. This one's like hard to describe exactly what it is, but like I don't. This one's the one I want people to work on first though. So like update and create. So like for example, things that are missing right now are like add new volume, add new secret, add uh, mount, like mount, mount, unmount volume, like change pod config, change image config, like mount secret. Anyway, same obviously same for this one as well, but we need that flow there.
Yep.
And so pretty much the idea here is note all API actions we want to have the generated front-end client from backend Swagger containing all necessary calls for the above actions. We will work to make the backend Swagger include paths which have not been implemented yet by simply making mocked versions in the backend. So like for example, like create, update, volume, create, update, secret. I'm trying to think, what's the other one? Update workspace, new API. But then this one is create. I'm trying to think what there. I wonder if there is stuff that needs to change in this one. You know what I mean? Might need a few more fields. And then the other one is going to be details. Like workspace details. Like what is there anything that's like currently mocked on the details pages that is not actually being called? Like for example, logs, for example. Like even if we just do a mocked one for like logs, you know what I mean? YAML. Even if they would, again, we can just mock these for now. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of my like
I guess like events would be the other
yep,
one.
that's great. Love it. Yep.
And then there's the whole scary conversation around metrics, but that gets messy. I think that should not be included here.
yeah. That's feature. That's not minimum viable either. So like
Yeah.
it's yeah. So like it's more like I want it to have the because I want the front end people because I want to be able to give reviews for the front end flow and be like, hey, we should be working because like there's no like the front end flow can be improved without the back end being ready to do it. If you know what I mean. Like that's kind of what I'm saying. Because like the thing we're constrained.
Once we get the stubs there,
That's what I'm
yes.
saying. Yeah, the thing we're and also then the front end people can be like, hey, the API contract should change because I don't like this. You know what I mean, or something to that effect. And then we can just mock them. You know,
Yep.
and it means that we're not as caught by the lack of resource to develop the backend right now. You know, like that's kind of the so that and then also yeah. Anyway, cool. Okay, so as there in so like I guess the question for us then like how to describe this one? Like, so what's the so this is fine as a goal for that one. Priority one. There's nothing more important than this. So like if anyone's tasks are doing anything that's not for one of these goals, stop doing them. You know what I mean? So like this like I want like how do I describe this one? The priority 2 one is completed, ready for like ready like red like like if I'm review for sign off, like effectively I want to have like front end sign off effectively. You know what I mean? Like sign off, like front end, front workspace related front end pages are are
It's like flow, like flows.
flow are like are ready for like review even and connected to backend. That's actually the thing, right? And all
Yeah, I just think I you just delete the all. I think that's fine and connected to backend.
via generated client. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so again, this can happen sooner than we would have the backend fully ready, even the controller ready, simply because so effectively I'm gonna move this to like here, which is that, and then saying uh out comes flows, required flows. Because it's really hard to give feedback unless we have this. You know what I mean? It's like there could be crazy things going on, and I know that I'm somewhat blocking some of these, but I know this. I feel like is there any other things that are more important than these right now? Not really.
I
Uh,
don't think so.
and so is there anything else? Like, because I don't care about workspace kinds. I don't care about I don't really even care about secrets and other things like that. Like I do care about the ability to mount them in volumes, but I think we do need to be able to create volumes. I think that one needs to be mocked in there because that's just not useful. You can't use the project otherwise. Um, and honestly, you can't really use without secrets either. So that's fine. So yeah, those need to be in there. Yeah, that's fine. Is there any other things that we're missing here? So like the ones that need to be uh, it's more like get workspace logs, get workspace YAML, get workspace events.
Yeah, I don't want to rabbit hole on the YAML one is weird. Um,
I agree. Um, we don't need a tab for that. I'll agree. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Is that in the flyover page? So on the main tab, so the table view, what is necessary for the table view? Uh, do we have?
so we've stripped out things that aren't real right now, right?
Ah,
So
yes, we need
there's
to add this in here though, which is get like list workspaces, and then this one specifically is correct. So like connect, like the connect services. Oh, actually, that's important. Yeah, icons. And connect services paths. You know what I mean?
icons gets weird though, right? Because that's
Again, mocked is
instituted
fine. What I'm saying is they
at the
need to.
workspace, but that's driven from the workspace. Okay, yeah, we can just mock it at
That's what I'm
the
saying.
workspace.
These are the
Sorry.
parts that
Yes.
like they're like I'm not going to accept like things that are not like it should not it should be that the front end should not have to change anything to make it actually work. You know what I mean? That like the
Got
front
it.
end should be in a state where it's ready to just it's trusting that that path is there, even if it's 404ing right now. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like it's that
Got it.
because then it's and so that then all of the work can shift to other pages and like things that are not workspace related. Because then also this comes a spike effectively. You know what I mean? For like demoing the front end for workspaces. Um, cool. Okay, is there any other one? So list workspaces. So get workspace is not really, we don't actually do a get workspace, so that's not relevant. Create, update, volumes. So like, yeah. And so this one is interesting, right? Is there any fields that need to be added there? But yeah, let's move on, I guess. So like update workspace. This is the main one which we will add a mock for. Okay. Probably get a mock in there pretty quickly. Cool. Okay, so now the next. So other than these two priorities, okay, so workspace related front-end pages are ready for review and connected to backend via generated client, even if mocked, so, okay, and then, okay, is there any other, like, spikes that are absolutely necessary? And what's our status on priority one, then? What's our status on priority one? So how far are
I've
we from deployable?
I've raised a PR that does the so in order for us to publish, we wanted to fix like the names of stuff in the manifest for the controller. So I have a PR raised that uses our standard app.kubernetes.io stuff. It's 596 update controller manifest to follow conventions. Fundamentally not changing anything. Whatever, I kind of call it the changes here. But basically, this gets us on a workspaces controller to align with workspaces backend and workspaces front end. And then I'll add the GitHub action on top of this that has the tagging behavior and things that we discussed about
Tagging behavior?
to tag the images correctly with dirty and not use latest and commit hashes versus releases, like all the image
Does that
tagging.
not happen in here?
That's not tied into anything right now. Quite honestly, that commit that slipped into this PR. It fundamentally should be in a subsequent PR. Or no, sorry, I just hard code this right now to allow specifying the tag, but right now this isn't that interesting. So it's really
And
in the
the
publish.
E2E tests still succeed with this?
Yes, yes.
Cool. Anyway, since this is the top priority, let's review this after this call, I guess. Okay. And then is there anything else required to get to this? And is this actually the correct set of steps? We probably need to make the steps actually correct. What? Do we have something tracking this? No. Okay, so like, what is our outcomes that we need here? So, because again, some of these are wrong. Like this is not what we're doing in the first version. You know what I mean? So, like, we're going to.
So it's this manifest work and then 3 different issues to add a publish GitHub for controller for workspaces for backend, and then it's kind of documenting the steps on how to deploy it.
Uh, container images for each commit.
Yes.
What else we need?
And then once we have like the thought right now was right, just either a document or a simple script that you can say, since we're publishing images per commit, it's like build a release for me off of this commit of Notebooks 2.0.
Okay, interesting. So like, yeah, effectively, I want to be able to deploy a commit. Like, so I think we
Right.
agreed that we'd just publish all the images on every commit just to
Yes.
save pain.
At least for now, that makes it much easier to
And then
manage.
so are we gonna do it? So then the answer is the outcome a README or is it a wiki page? Or I think it probably
Yeah, I think it'll be a wiki page.
so I'm fine with either. It's probably best to be a wiki page. Yeah. Okay. A wiki page for how to deploy Kubeflow notebooks from main, effectively. You know what I mean?
Well,
Notebooks
from Notebooks 2.0, right?
2.0, whatever. So you know what I mean? Like,
Well, but no, it's not from main, right? Main isn't. Yes, that was my point.
I'm more like, yeah, I understand. Like, it's like from how to deploy the development version,
There you
latest,
go.
the latest, maybe latest
Yes.
develop. No, deploy a specific commit of Kubeflow.
Yeah, that works.
And so this is, yeah, so okay, and so what else would be necessary to get that done? I guess the dashboard steps. So that under here, so like deployment steps would be, what are they going to be? Right? So because these are wrong, right? These ones, so like I want to say So eventually it will be like next priority is use update guide to use dashboard from Kubeflow dashboard. That's after the first current step is we're just going to use it for manifest. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? So what are the steps? So I agree. We're just going to tell people to do these. Yeah, these are somewhat correct, I think.
So yeah, so the only question I had there, like I have like a, deployment guide. It's not right in that it's not using like published notebooks images, but do we want to do from upstream? Because I was just grabbing all the stuff from manifests, like not doing the single line install, but just grabbing all the required components, but like running them off of manifest install, like apply
That's what I'm
dash
saying. The
K
guide
to a
just should say
remote.
that. Yeah. And so effectively the steps to the user are going to be this. That's why I'm just trying to write out what that guide is going to say in it. And then we'll just see if we forget anything. Okay, so the deployment steps, yeah, install site manager, install SDO, install dashboard from Kubeflow manifests.
But this just to make sure I'm clear on criteria, cert manager and Istio do not install from Kubeflow.
This is upstream version of it, and then we would install. And Istio is going to be a slight problem here because of the required OAuth2 proxy configs, but because unfortunately it's configured specific. Yeah, this one is going to be this one. We're probably going to have to say install from Kubeflow manifest on this one as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think for this so I'm very comfortable with all that if we keep
And to
it to
say like
that for now.
saying note, this is because to use Istio with Kubeflow manifest auth, you need to set Istio level configs for ext auth z. Okay. To like start with a clean Kubernetes cluster. Could be local K3s and or EKS etc. It should be possible. The steps should not care because this, unlike the testing ones, which are all kind, that's kind of what I'm trying to highlight. And then install site manager. That one can be from upstream, from a Helm chart probably or something. Then this one can be install Istio. Yeah, sure. Install dashboard from that. Yeah, so this is not true. That's going to be the future. Install notebooks 2.0. And now this one is where we're going to say, effectively a command that will probably delete any existing ones. You know what I mean? Like possibly by label namespace. Apply backend controller from specific commit, customize build for the tag replacement, apply backend from specific commit, apply frontend from specific commit.
Sorry, I was talking on mute. Delete existing is just because we might be like changing stuff such that.
Well, I want, it's like, this is a development thing. We just need to, in the step, we need to have a way of, like we could start with the that I'm gonna say include, I guess either we're gonna say explicitly this is a one-way street, or like you delete the whole, you're like, I don't want, I think we should just have include some basic cleanup. How to remove, like go to clean, you know what I mean? Get to a clean cluster. And so we should agree on a way of doing that, you know what I mean? Like we do it by label, because since we're labeling everything properly now, it should be relatively straightforward. It's like,
Yes.
Delete CIDs, delete things. And so every time the step at the beginning is start with either a new cluster or run this set of scripts, and it will delete Kubeflow Notebooks 2.0 and all of Kubeflow from this cluster. You know, like just we need to agree on how to do that step, and then so that yeah, it's just you know.
Okay. Yep. Nope.
Sanity.
That makes sense. Thank you. I'll translate that into. I already have a feature open up for this, but I can spin this out into tasks
Obviously,
now.
it's an
So
incredibly destructive and dangerous command. I'm just saying, like, it's just,
yes.
and obviously, so this is not something we expect users to run, but and we'll say a warning on it. You know what I mean? Please don't
Right.
run this on a real cluster because it will delete your kubeflow if you run it. Like, this is not, you can't, this is, don't, like, we are assuming that you're only using Notebooks 2.0 right now, no other part of kubeflow, you know what I mean? Like, things like that, right?
Yes.
And now the last one is port forward the Istio service,
Was
create
it?
local
Yeah. Istio Ingress Gateway.
DNS entry pointing to 127.0.0.1. HTTPS we won't do, you know what I mean? Problem is you can't use service workers unless you're on HTTPS. We do need to put HTTPS there, I think, which is actually fine. It can just be generated. That's fine. HTTPS will be like ensure that browser sees, because the reason we have to DNS entry, because only host names are allowed to do service workers, unfortunately, and things like that. So there are some IDEs that we use that don't work properly outside of this. I forget what it is. Anyway, okay. So ensure that browser sees HTTPS, not trusted, for kubeflow.example.com, you know what I mean? Some on this load, this service, this port forwarded service, you know what I mean? Because this helps people understand what the heck actually, because otherwise people look, when they look at this, they're like, there's so much complexity that they don't know otherwise. That's like, I want to call this out. I don't want this to happen magically, especially because again, I want it to work on any Kubernetes cluster. And so that means you need to run a port forward on the service because that's the only way we can guarantee that it will work. You then have a local etc hosts, what I'm trying to say, entry for this pointing to your thing on that, you know what I mean? And then like, and then so like https:// dot example.com 8443, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
this.
so I mean, I get it. The only thing I'm not sure about here is the ensure browser sees HTTPS, because that is actually like none of the rest of this stuff is actually like code changes.
So that is, so again, we just need to make, there is a version of the manifest upstream which will do that for you. We just need to make sure we pick that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
So like, because again, Istio can generate the, yeah,
Got it. Got it.
actually,
Thank
no,
you.
sorry, Istio can use a cert that was made by cert manager. You know what I'm saying? But it's not trusted. It's going to be like an unsigned cert. Well,
Got it.
signed.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, because the problem is, it's just, we don't, Notebooks 2.0 will not be supporting non-HTTPS. You know what I mean? It just doesn't
Right.
make any, it doesn't make
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
sense. Because like, effectively, there are too many IDEs which don't work properly outside of HTTPS. Because Chrome has very strong restrictions on HTTP
Yes.
service workers and whatever else. So, okay. So, then then we'll probably have a, this connects into the next one, obviously, which is like, start a, like, basic example. Oh no, that's actually important. Load default Kubeflow workspace kind. You know what I mean? Like workspace kind using CLI, like kubectl /UI. You know what I mean? Like no, oh, UI. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And use either or the upload YAML in UI, and then spawn notebook. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and that flow there is the demo. I want to run this demo. So of course these last two won't be possible until we finish these ones, but I want that demo to be done on stream, you know what I mean, at some point.
Right. Well, I mean, we can do that demo without the stuff below it, but it's just limited in the complexity of what the
Well, but
workspace is.
and yeah, spawn notebook, like like a basic workspace usage on notebook. Just one workspace. Maybe I'm gonna say the word create space. Connect to workspace. Update workspace.
Yeah, so I'd strip all that out, Matthew. Like update workspace has nothing to do with all this deployment stuff. So I'd
Oh
keep it
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
just
I don't think you need.
whatever is there today.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think we should at least show these two though. But yes, as I don't like because this is a validation that you've set your stuff up correctly as well.
That's fair.
Like that.
That's fair.
It's like if you can't connect, something is horribly wrong with your cluster. Is kind of what I'm.
That's fair.
That like so like it's more of a. This is a as a sanity check for Istio because like this is where stuff will go wrong if your Istio is
Right.
misconfigured.
Yep.
So
Yeah. No. Yeah. Very
and
comfortable
again,
with
I'm not
that.
saying
Yep.
these are not possible straight away, but the doc should explain how to do it so that we freaking get to that point. And then we
Yep.
now come down to here. So I guess priority 3 is going to be, I will give one priority 3 is the thing that Hashad's working on, which is Istio services. You know what I mean? Like Istio integration with
Yes.
controller. And so this is priority 3. So again, if you obviously like effectively the goal should be that anyone looks and sees can they contribute to this one until it's done, can they contribute to this one until it's done, like don't work on any tasks, and I literally don't think anyone should work on anything other than these 3 priorities right now. Like I just don't think it would be particularly valid unless it's notebooks 1.0 related. That's fine.
Right. Yep. And I think we are there for that matter right now. So
yeah, outcomes is this one's pretty short, so we don't need to spend much time here. Is able to controller is updated to create Istio virtual services for workspaces. That's literally the only outcome I care about here.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on. Okay, so in that vein, I see that actually Hashad left, unfortunately. Okay, so the he needed to drop and then come back, he said. Okay, so other than these, so what is our status on these top?
So like I said, I think once the manifest PR is merged, I'll get a published PR opened up for controller and then either do the front end and back end or, make sure that those are accurately written up. But
Okay,
I
we
mean,
can do that, but let's that's fine. So we can go through these now after recording, but let's just quickly check the Trivi and FOSSA scanning stuff. So like, is there any status update on this notebook stuff?
we haven't done anything with this. The Trivi PR I have open. We still need to get it merged. FOSSA, I think we just need to like replace the licenses.
These are all done as well.
Yes.
So we can
yeah, including the private Slack channel is not just for notebooks, but it's for all security stuff. So I feel like that's good enough.
is this for all components, I guess, or?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to check. No, I think that's the one with the external security reviews, though. I don't know if we want to use that one.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, I think we should make our own one for notebooks, but
Okay.
let's just still do this. Add members of notebook, Kubeflow notebooks, security, and that's just like Matthew, Paul, Andy, Eder.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Moving on, next one, and then Trivi scans. So this one hasn't been merged though, yeah. So that is important.
Dashboards has been merged. Notebooks isn't. Notebooks is like I said, we started to look at this, but timed out. It's just weird because we use two it works. It's just the two non-default branches thing, but it is totally functional, and I just don't think
And then I'm gonna
there's
put another one here, which is like 5. Set up regular security review sync to triage. They say
yes.
monthly, you know what I mean? I'm just saying like monthly unless something more urgent happens,
Right.
So set up recurring monthly meeting. We will say like we will go through the security alerts in GitHub for notebooks B1 and notebook B2 and triage and triage them. Okay, and that's probably it. Okay. So I guess the next step is to create these things. So I guess since you've pretty much already done that, we can pretty much close out these ones, but after this meeting.
Yes.
So cool. Okay, dependable we haven't really talked about, so we'll come back to later. Puzzle scanning is actually already done. This one I don't think has been.
We're scanning, but I think we wanted to get the license like output from FOSSA and, like you said, delete that third party and then replace something with.
This is in central dashboard though, so I think. So whatever. But okay, cool. Okay, is there anything else that we need to talk about here? I obviously love to talk about this at some point, but not today. Okay, which is like how we're gonna deal with rack scale systems like GB200 and GB300. You know, how do you deal with having 72 GPUs in your interactive notebook environment? Seems like a fun experiment. Okay. Let's. I think we had a really good idea for how to do it, by the way. So, okay. And especially Slurm integration, critical. AI labs need this, and everyone else will need it as well because that's what everyone's doing. Okay. The stand-up stuff. If anyone wants to give a quick update, who's on the call, feel free to say what you've been working on. Is Paulo, do you want to give an update, or if not, we can stop the recording?
I think regarding workspace creation, the only thing is I'm adding labels and annotations to the wizard that we didn't have before, but the backend already supports it. I'm working on that.
Oh, cool. Okay, so that's useful. Yeah. We should talk about how labels should be done because labels can be a kind of a security related thing. Users shouldn't in general be able to create labels, but so what was the purpose of that?
It's in the workspace spec.
Yeah, it's actually there for pod defaults. So that's the only reason it was there originally. So it's because otherwise it would be incompatible with pod defaults. So like it's I don't in general I don't think admins are gonna want users to be able to label their pods or workspaces just because they could mess up stuff. But to be clear, you won't be able to mess up the controller. The controller is designed such that you can't set labels that would break the controller. But it's more of a like we should talk about the use case there and find at least one use case. And so the previous use case was label based off pod defaults. I don't like them, but I don't think we should use pod defaults if we can avoid it. But the one that mutates them as they get submitted, I don't like that. But I don't see any current reason to have label support.
So I was just looking at the workspace spec and saw that it's there on create. So I was just trying to align front end.
So yeah,
with
that's
the
there
back
so
end.
that the front end can, if necessary, meet feature parity with the 1.0 spawner, which is able to list the current pod defaults in the namespace and then tell you which labels would be necessary to apply, but only that the admin apply, only that the creator of the workspace apply the labels for the currently available pod defaults in your namespace. If you know what I mean. So like, again, I want to avoid pod defaults anyway. So like, but it's just from a feature parity perspective, to get people off 1.0, we might need it, So it's just we can debate, but labels are too community specific, I think, for users. Yeah, they just shouldn't care about them.
So, in your opinion, it shouldn't be on the front end on the creation?
I mean, I'm not against you having a branch or something, which if you made a nice UI for it, that we can talk about it, because there might be other UIs that need labels, but I don't currently, and this is exactly why this needs to be the priority for the parts that we talk about that are actually important for the front end, just to kind of keep focused on that, you know what I mean? Because that's the part I want to be regularly going through the front end. I want to get to the point where we can be like, yes, that front end in that state is good enough to ship. You know what I mean? And like, even if the backend doesn't work yet. And so, I mean, we can all debate the labels thing. We don't need to debate now. But like the, I don't blame anyone for working on things because they don't have the current list. But but it's again, the goal should be to get it to a point where we can all say we are happy enough with the workspace creation, update, listing, flow. You know what I mean? And then we can have people work on other interesting front end things after that. Like there's so many things that we could work on, but maybe workspace kind first. So, or maybe making better volumes and secret pages. You know, that's probably the one, right? Because I want to get rid of the volume page. I want to get rid of the volume controller and web app, right? I want to get rid of the, there's no secrets web app, but you know, like that. That's, I want to use the workspace backend for that. And then we can start having debates about stuff like, hey, should they be allowed to see every secret or just once it's labeled or something? Okay.
Yep.
And so that's good because and that could be priority 4, I guess, but that's later. So, any other things we should talk about? Anyone else on the call? Charles, you want to say anything?
No, I've just been working on like smaller items like bug fixes and stuff. But I guess I have a question about the volumes and secrets. We do have something on the front end at the moment. So I guess what would be the next step for them?
So you need to be able to create those things in the flow.
I see.
So like during this is exactly why the end-to-end flow is really critical to get up on the screen and follow it as a user. Because like right now you would have to like, so for volumes, I'm okay with pushing people off to the volumes web app if we have to, but I don't want to. Like I think because like I know that there's a lot of UI work, probably a couple weeks worth of UI work to do, like to really pipe clean how to create and mount volumes and do things like detect when multiple volumes are being mounted onto things when in an incompatible way, you know, like stuff like, oh, not mounting on the same path, stuff like 2 workspaces not being able to run at the same time, which are mounting the same volume that are only read once, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, read write once. So like what I'm talking about is that during the create workspace flow, there will be effectively a sidebar that happens which says mount volumes, right? One of the pages is mount volumes and or mount secrets. But in that flow, the user is going to be like, hey, I want to create a new one, right? You know, like so you need to be able to do that in the front end, which it's not capable of right now.
Because yeah, just to level set, Charles, right? Today you just assume that it pre-exists and we just copy paste the name of the thing in there. So this is enabling that flow.
You need one that you need an API. You need to. I would expect you would need if you like you're doing something wrong if you don't need list current volumes in the workspace in the namespace. Check its and another one which would be list the workspaces that are currently, like you probably are going to need information that the backend should explain to you, saying, is this a mountable volume? Like, am I allowed to mount this right now for some reason? You know what I mean? Like for the reason of like, is there another work? You know, that's a bit more of a second order abstraction, but the minimum one would be create, maybe delete, debatable. But at very least create and list. And so the question of how that flow looks is the thing I want the front end people to be thinking about. You know, so I want to get a thing in there that's calling the backend APIs, and then I want to have debates about like, okay, I'm a user story. What is the actual flow that, like, because the old flow was terrible. It was spam create volumes based off uniqueness of the name of the workspace, right? Notebook, which is terrible. In fact, it even spawned projects to clean them up because people kept creating so many of them. And then for secrets, there's another factor, which is like, okay, do we want to have the admin? Do we want to have templated secret types? Like for Amazon key that we then do a validation. Is that a valid Amazon key? You know, do we want to have, do we want to, whenever a secret gets mounted, do we want to automatically add an environment variable to the workspace, which might be done in the controller actually, but the, you know, something, so the point is in the create flow, I would expect, you know, you say the name of it, you select the workspace kind, you select the options for the workspace kind, and then you've got a whole bunch of other things like, you know, images and pod configs, and then you get to the volumes and secrets, right? So
yeah, this will probably be a good thing. We can talk Charles to Tal. I think this will be a good thing for him to start to, if he has sight, and I know like he'll probably be on vacation in the short term, but this will be a good thing for him to start to iterate on, to give us some ideas on this.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd say that we should, yeah, like we could probably do like flows, like user flows and stuff. Of course, I think just, we're kind of at a pretty confusing state right now. So I think just getting an absolutely minimum one in there that just is like a terrible create workspace, create volume UI that calls the backend, which doesn't do anything right now. You know what I mean? Or some, listing and creating, like, those ones are pretty trivial to actually add really dangerous mocks, not mocks, but like mocks that, you know what I mean? Anyway, so, okay. The part that I think we do need to think about here, though, is like how to handle from the fact that read write once is a common volume type from the UI user perspective, e.g., should we warn the user they are mounting a read write once volume to multiple pods? You know what I mean?
And I know for Red Hat OpenShift AI, they've been iterating over this and recently even started to make some changes based on users' feedback. So I feel like we have, not to say that it's like just a copy and paste, but I feel like there is some research and stuff
That's
we
what I'm
can
saying. Yeah, yeah.
draw
That's
from
why I
here.
wanted to get to a point where we could start having it take it in front of a user and be like, is this an acceptable flow?
Yep.
Right. And it's like, the answer is obviously going to be no. And then we can go back and iterate and then make it better.
Yep.
Because we're in a state now where we can improve it. And then that's what the front end people can work on during that time. They can set up,
Yep.
they can draw mockups, user experience flows, whatever. So, okay. Is there any other things that you've been working on?
No, but another follow-up question. So for the front end right now, for the when you create a workspace, there are options to create volume and create secrets there in the wizard. Is that what you're talking about, or is
Yes,
there
those
something
APIs
else?
need to exist, right?
No, I
That's what I
think
mean.
those, but yeah, Charles, those screens need rework because while it says create volume, create secret,
Yeah.
it's actually mounting an existing one. And so that, but it's like highlights like the flow here doesn't make sense because we're not adding or creating. Those things already exist on the cluster. And so it's like getting that like sensible and clear as a flow.
And there's a lot of debate in my mind about the best way to handle this, like that it's obvious if the user wants to mount one that already exists, kind of
Yeah,
what that should look like, right? But you can probably make it better, but with stuff like,
I see.
but the question is like, okay, should we even allow them to create a workspace, a volume and a flow? Of course, there are quite
Right.
a few steps into the flow at this point, so it'd be really bad user experience to kick them out of it. But like,
Yeah.
how easy should it be for the creation of a new volume? Like that's kind of
Well, and then and then it gets further wonky. So if we give you a create, we probably need to give you a delete, but you probably sure as
Exactly. Yeah.
shouldn't be deleting arbitrary secrets on the class. So it's like there's a lot of
shouldn't
gnarly
be deleting
stuff.
ones that are in the. Yeah, so the debate also is, should you be allowed to mount arbitrary secrets from the namespace or only ones that are managed that were labeled appropriately? With
So,
a workspace visible equals true kind of label or something,
Yes.
like
so for just like planning purposes, like should we bring this up, Andy? This question for Andy, I guess. Like, should we bring this up to some UX folks to start thinking about and like Matthew said, like maybe some mock-ups or something to
Yeah, I think
get
I don't
started.
think we need to like as we have been developing, I don't think we necessarily need to be blocked by it, right? We could just get simple modals up just to meet basic needs, but I
I
think it'll be
see.
good.
Yeah,
Where we'll run into trouble is just, do we have an available UX designer right now? Like I said, because Justin's working on stuff, Kyle's got a bunch on his plate, so Tall would be the obvious person, but he's probably going to be taking considerable vacation this month. But we should still raise it, and at least we can like discuss with them the parameters so it's clear kind of what we're looking for. I think that's absolutely correct, like the right next step.
yeah, but like
we
it's
shouldn't
all I can say,
wait
right?
for necessarily mock-ups to then get
Yeah, I
these
want to get
stub
an
endpoints
MVP
in.
first. I literally just want to get an MVP first. Like I even if it's something horrendously bad, but the thing that I'm surprised by right now is that no one has asked for these backend APIs, right? You know what I mean? Like that's the part where I'm like, I just don't understand how. Obviously, we're just doing even the list. How are we even doing the list? Like, what's listing? You know what I mean? The workspace, the volumes right now. In the create.
I mean, nothing is. The user experience is you copy and paste in the thing.
I see. Okay, so we're not even doing that. I see. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no list right now.
I'm gonna put in brackets in create update workspace flow. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm trying to say. Cool. Okay. And we can, and then we'll pipe clean this as well once we've got it. And this is why this top part's great, because as soon as we can start doing this top part, I can start throwing it in front of actual users, right? And being like, hey, because right now we're in a pretty dangerous spot where we haven't got it in front of actual users who use 1.0 every day and been like, is this better? You know, like this is like dangerous. Okay, so we think it is, but who knows? Okay. Anything else here that you've been working on?
No, but I do need to drop at the moment. So, but thank you, everyone.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. Paulo, anything else you want to add or ask about? If not, we'll stop the recording.
Just a follow-up question regarding labels and annotations. So with annotations, can I proceed with adding that on the wizard or users to add annotation?
I don't think that makes sense. I don't see any user. If you can find a use case that makes sense and isn't a risk, yes. But right now I don't see any that are. So if you want to add one, again, this is going to require you to need another API. Pod defaults. At very least, maybe we should have feature compatibility with the pod defaults that were previously there in case users have created them for pipelines, for example. So what you would expect then is a list pod defaults in namespace command, sorry, API to be necessary. And then the backend would tell you the labels that are necessary to apply that pod default to such a pod. And then the front end could inject those labels for the user.
So, but I mean, I guess I'm confused here. Ultimately, if someone just like had dev tools open and hacked in labels and annotations, the
Exactly.
API
So the
would accept.
backend would need to reject ones that are not
Okay.
allowed.
Thank
right?
you. That's the piece I was
like,
missing.
And so fundamentally, it might make more sense to instead, again, I don't want to do this, but add under pod templates on the controller a list of pod defaults. This is crazy. It's insane. We shouldn't. The problem is that we don't have a solution to the, well, we do have a solution. It just needs to be in the workspace kind. But like the I want to mount a KFP token, you know, that problem, for example, right? Like because the only one that we can't easily solve with the current workspace kind flow is, oh no, I take that back. We can. Because we allow, ooh, interesting. We allow volume mounting on the controller, right? You know, but for example, if I could go Kubeflow pipelines, what I'm talking about is this. User guides. No, it's it's like somewhere under one of these, like it's like connect this one. There we go. So it's like inside the cluster. And so it's like this, right? We need to be able to have a projected, we need to, this actually needs to be a supported volume type in the workspace kind. No, in the workspace. Oh, but then we need like a default, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of, it's kind of messy, right? This is because this is under pod default, this is like the only kind of hard line for serious Kubeflow integration that doesn't make sense without it. So like what do you have any ideas for how to best to do this? Like so.
This here, oh
wait, no, we have extra. Oh wait. We already have the solution for this. We just need to expand the like under the controller. We already have a workspace kind default volumes, see?
Yes.
Which we already use for stuff like this. The question is this actually just the internal one? It is. Perfect. So this is already supported. Great. Amazing. I guess the question then is, do we want to have a concept? Well, we do have this already. It's kind of under options, but then do we want to have like a God, that's really complex. But like, you know what I mean? Some kind of tick box, yes, no for various injected volumes. But this does kind of connect to the secrets because this is kind of a secret, you know? So like it's you know, like I don't know, it could also be abstracted. Like we could under the secret, you know how we're adding secret. I don't know if we added it to workspace kind or not, but we added it to workspace. We're adding secret mounts.
There are secrets in the kind already, I thought.
On the PR, you mean? Yeah. You mean in this one? I think it's only on workspace, right? Yeah. So like,
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
What I'm saying is we could. So this is abstracted a little bit. Like we've got pod secret mounts, right? Okay. It's like they can't really change that, but it's interesting. So like I don't know if there's any other normal use case for pod defaults. I'm trying to remember if there was any. Most of the time it was just hacking in things that we should be doing with workspace kinds now anyway, right? So it's so because like and I don't like this because it's like really silly how this works, you know what I mean? Like, and also it requires a pod default to be in every namespace, which is stupid. I just don't want that to be a thing at all. So like it's I'd love to deprecate. We will deprecate pod default at some point. That's kind of what I mean. Of course, that is going to cause problems for pipelines, maybe because some people use pipeline stuff. So it's going to be hard to deprecate it, but we should try and deprecate it and get not just for us, the whole Kubeflow, and get some better solution in every part of the component, every other component. Also, by the way, this match labels doesn't work properly because it only actually like pays attention to the first label. So, okay. So, oh, actually, that was actually only true on the notebook side. Sorry, that's the notebooks didn't understand the concept of when there was multiple labels here, and it certainly doesn't understand the other kind of selector as well, which is conditional one. Okay. So, well, the answer to your question is, certainly labels are not required for the first release. So I can't think of it. I mean, unless it's for pod defaults. That's the only exception to that rule. So the question is, but then that raises question. So, because the reason pod defaults were interesting, but again, it kind of breaks the reconciliation loop as well. You know, it's like, because it's an on a mission thing. It's like,
So I think there's a documented, like, here's how you set up your workspace kind if you're using pod defaults to move to the new world kind of thing. So then I guess it's
yeah.
but then I feel like we need to like remove labels and annotations from the API.
So those are there not for users, right? So these are here so that someone could add like a Kyverno thing that's like tracking stuff. They could, it's effectively just, I don't see any reason not to have them, if you know what I mean. Like it's just, but the user doesn't need to set them. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like that's.
Well, I get, but I mean, that's what I'm saying though. From like the API, like in the request, you shouldn't be able to set them, right? Like,
I see what you're saying in the backend.
yes, I'm sorry. Yes, my fault.
Sorry,
In the
so
back
I agree
end.
that from a security perspective, yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
because you could obviously you could munge in a thing that's
Right.
not,
Sorry. Yes, that's yes.
I see what you're saying. Okay, that's actually a good point. I like it.
Okay.
Yep, so we should drop those off. Yep. Let's make sure you write that down. So I'm gonna say under create workspace.
Yeah, might need a few more fields, might need a few less fields.
We should also remove the labels. Where is it actually under here? Look at labels. The pod, the ability to set pod labels because users don't need to set this, and it's a bit security risk to leave it even if the front end does not provide a way to set it because users can just pull.
Can you just make sure it says, or yeah, remove the ability to set pod labels in the API, right? I mean, that's, yeah. Yes.
Cool. We should probably review all of them as well. Like, honestly, what any other fields are in there. I don't think there's any others that are weird though. So
No, I don't think that was the one that jumped out to me just because I didn't see it on the front end.
yeah, I was thinking about it in the context. It's a really good point that you could add arbitrary labels that we don't want. So yeah, that's a good point. Cool. Okay. Anything else, Paulo? Thanks. Sorry for going. Yeah, it saves you some time at least.
No, that's it. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. I'm gonna stop the recording unless you've got anything else you want to add, Andy.
Nope, good.